You're now tuned into the First and 10 podcast brought to you by OXP MEDIA, and I'm your host, Brandon Graham, and I'm pleased to be joined by another special guest. We have Josiah Morra of the Canada men's sevens team. Grew up in Scarborough, Ontario, but hey, Josiah, thank you so much for joining the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Just want to have a deep dive into your journey as, a player in rugby. I remember playing rugby in grade 10, but never to the same level that you've obviously gone with it, but just in general, just going through your life in general with this sport and currently where you are as well too. But when it comes to rugby and how you even started, I know you went to Braidwood College to start off in grade 8, but even then, like when was it first introduced to you? When was the game introduced to you at all?
Funny enough, when I was younger, I usually played like volleyball, basketball, just all sports back in elementary, right? And I remember a good friend of mine from my old neighborhood. He was a couple years older than me, so he went to Braidwood, and he started playing rugby. So he brought it to my attention. He had a rugby ball, and we started like tossing the ball around, and he introduced me to the game from then. So when I went grade 9 to Braidwood, he brought me out to one of the tryouts, and I just been going to tryouts, kept going on to the other training sessions, and then fell in love with the game ever since then, and just started quitting all the other sports I've been playing before rugby, and just took rugby seriously.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I know, of course, you growing up, in Scarborough, you played hockey, you played basketball, track and field, of course, too. But I understand. I saw a little profile on you saying that, your neighbors would ask your mom, like, is Josiah okay? Because he's just kicking the ball up and running after it. You were obsessed from the moment you got it, right? That's awesome. But just growing up and just in Scarborough in general with rugby, was it around that much? Because I know you were introduced to it in grade 9, but going from Braidwood, and I know you went to Blessed Cardinal Newman, joined the junior team there as well too, in grade 9 and grade 10, or grade 12 actually. But with the game and how it's kind of evolved as a winger, do you just like the freedom that you had as a winger? Because I know you get the ball, flanked out to you. You just love running and getting the tries. Like what was the one thing that stuck out with the game for you?
Man, playing rugby, it was just like, I don't know, the brotherhood, I just felt like, I never played football, but I had a lot of friends who played football, and they told me how usually there's always a separation between the defensive line and the attack line, or offensive line, sorry.
Yeah.
And just from other sports too, I don't know, I just felt like there's a big shift when it came to the bonding with the boys on the rugby team compared to other sports. So I don't know, it was just fell in love with the game ever since then, and I just really enjoyed just using my speed and just excitement of the game too. So back in high school, playing on the wing, all you have to do is just catch the ball and run as far as you can.
Right.
So that's what I was told to do. So just been doing that, and then progressing every year, playing with Team Toronto, Team Ontario, and other academy teams. Right. So I've just been learning more about the game and getting used to there's more to do on the wing than just try and run as fast as you can. And
Yeah, you rose up the ranks really well, and I know you're the oldest of 5 in your family as well too, right? So having your younger siblings, are you introducing the game to them as well? Did they fall in love with it as well? I know you're your younger brother. Yeah. How is that going for us? I know you're in Langford, BC right now, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you introduce it to your brothers? Are they into it as well too?
Yeah, it's funny. My mom's she was really nervous when she found out that I wanted to play rugby, because she didn't know the sport was until I showed it to her back in high school. But she was first thing she came out of her mouth, she was like, "Yeah, I can't see your other siblings playing rugby, because she still gets kind of nervous when she sees me on the field. Sees me standing next to all the other bigger players and whatever."
Yeah.
So
of course.
I think right now my siblings, they're still pretty young and they still have time to decide what they want to do. But right now my mom still kind of backs her.
That's right.
I like to play right now, but my siblings do support me. They do watch my games and everything. So they support me as much as they can, and they tell me how much they tell their friends back in school about me and everything like that. So it's pretty nice to hear that from their voices.
That's pretty cool, man. I want to bring up the Toronto Intercity Rugby Ontario, and when I bring up the name Paul Myers, what does the name Paul Myers mean to you? And I know you gave a salute on Coach's Day, but what exactly did he do to you or inspire you to with the game of rugby in general?
Paul helped me a lot throughout my whole rugby career. You know,
Right.
when I first came in grade 9, he brought me into a couple of training sessions with Toronto Inner City Foundation,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was just a great great opportunity for me to go in and just explore more of the sport. You know,
Mhm.
growing up, I didn't really have much money coming from my family, so Turf was able to help me out with paying off my dues for like all the academy teams, just
Awesome.
so I was able to represent them on the highest
Right.
level.
Right.
So yeah, there were times when Paul would message me and tell me to come out to these sessions, and like
Mhm.
how he wasn't giving Noah's answer. So he always told me to come
Right.
out, and I traveled like from East Toronto to West Toronto to sessions,
Right.
got as much game time as I could.
Mhm.
You know, meeting new players and meeting new people around the sport. So it really
Mhm.
helped me with my journey.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I know you played for the Toronto Saracens Rugby Football Club as well as Upright Rugby as well, and you actually won the Q Meta Cup in Brantford, in Ontario. And then from there, I believe 2 weeks later, you got a message from Rugby Canada to actually join, right? So that's as an 18 or I believe 18-year-old, really, really young at that point, man. But going from there to getting that email. Did your mom believe you first of all? Like you're 18, like getting the invite to go to BC as a kid. Like, how did that make you feel to go from
Yeah.
Scarborough to
Funny enough, Paul was the first person to tell me about me getting carded to the national program.
right
So I remember he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, like if you had the opportunity to go play for Canada, like would you take it?" And
right
I said, "Yes, of course." Like I said yes in a heartbeat. So
right
he didn't want to keep it as a secret, but he just told me, he's like, "Hey, like yeah, I just want to let you know, like you played really well back in that Q-Meta tournament.
mm,
The Canada scouts really enjoyed the way you played, and you might get an offer sometime soon." And
right
funny enough, like this the day of, I had a call from the Team Canada manager on that day, and I was on my way to one of my rugby training sessions that day too. So I remember I was on the bus, and I was like just like smiling like ear to ear
yeah,
throughout the whole ride.
that's
So I
awesome, man.
remember, yeah. So I remember telling everyone back on my rugby team that day. They were pumped for me and everything like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Went back home to my mom. My mom, she kind of like raised her eyebrow. She's like, "Are you serious?" She didn't think I was like it's like me being like the oldest, and like she's like when I told her I had to move out to BC and all that other jazz,
Hmm.
she didn't like she thought I was just playing around, you know. So
Hmm.
I showed her the email and everything, and she like was pretty like she was surprised, not like surprised me in the fact like I had the opportunity to go out and play for
Right.
Canada, you know,
Yeah, of
because
course.
I didn't play any Canada age grade back in high school or anything like that,
Mhm.
so it was just like it was like just came from like just playing with all these rugby teams back in Toronto to like
Mhm.
strictly going straight to like the national program.
Right.
She was pretty happy for me, but like yeah, it was funny because at first she was kind of nervous about me going out because like first of all she's like, who's gonna cook for you, who's gonna go down BC, and it was just
Yeah.
kind of going on. But thankfully, there was a couple great friends of mine that were part of the program at first that were from
Mhm.
Toronto.
Yeah.
So they had an extra room for me, and I was able to move in with them. And then they showed me the ropes around Victoria, British Columbia, and
Yeah.
I think my first year out in BC really enjoyable. So yeah,
That's incredible, man. It's just being so young and going that like you just done so much. I know your first introduction to Canada Rugby Sevens was in Cape Town. That's when you made your debut.
yeah,
Is that right? And I believe Moonlight actually gave you the ball to get your
yeah,
first try. That's pretty awesome, man. To get that, and I think that's when you even said in the interview that that's pretty much when you knew that it's just a brotherhood, right? It's about the team that
yeah.
comes first. Like every game, your approach to the game. Uh, you're not looking for individual success. Are you just looking for the team success? Like how was your approach to the game? How do you get ready for the game? Just your mentality from the start to the end of the game, man. What is that like?
Um, like just probably like my preparation for each game is like just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
well, yeah. First off, like yeah, just wake up in the morning up, you know, kind of like stay relaxed, stay
right,
mobile, start stretching, whatever.
yeah,
And yeah, as soon as I get to the field, you know, I just put my headphones in and I just stay
yeah,
locked in throughout the
got
next
it.
few hours, and then until
Mhm.
the field's a team. So
Right.
that's just what I kind of go through a weekly basis whenever I hit the field with my team.
That's awesome, man. So,
Yeah.
but your mentality as well, man. Like on the field, like are you just looking to kill? What are you telling yourself during the game? I know, of course, you said your favorite quote is I'm capable of doing everything through Christ, which is Philippians 4:13, and your faith is a big deal in your life. But all right, like what is your mentality when you're playing the game? Like I want to know about like you in the game. Like are you just Are you
The game,
just yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. In the game, like I just want to be known as like a workhorse. You know, I want to be like,
right,
I want to be known as like to be I'm always everywhere on the field. So that's like something that I always want to be known for. So like,
Right.
you know, like back before, even when I'm not playing, like I'm always just known for like going for jogs around, you know, for like 40 minutes, you know.
Right. Right.
You know, thankfully British Columbia has really nice weather in the summertime. So I'm able to
Right.
like run by the ocean and everything like that. It's a nice view and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just like, that's just something that I want to portray in my game, you know. So
Right.
being able, it's just nice to see like that when it does like show in the game, like it shows like the hard work really pays off. So yeah, it's just like,
that's awesome.
That's what I want to be known for, you know, just helping my teammates out, just being there to make that extra tackle, that extra play that kind of creates like the next
try. Yeah,
exactly. So
got you. So I know I saw something as well too where you saw Nathan Hirayama, and I know Nathan. I've heard about Nathan. I watched his highlights, of course, too. But you got a chance to get a picture with him, I believe, when you're around 15 years old, and then 3 years later you're playing with him. Like that's pretty surreal in the general. Do you know like from the point when you're 15 years old in high school that you wanted to play for Team Canada from the onset? Like how was that, man? You achieved the goal. Like yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, like that was I remember meeting him for the first time. It was they had a tournament or they had a game in Toronto.
Right.
So I remember like watching some of his highlights back in high school, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy's sweet. And I was like, no, he's like the LeBron James of rugby Canada. You know what I mean? Like he's also like he's like one of the greatest players in the world too. You know, so like he's up there. So it was really surreal to actually meet him in person when I was young, and yeah, it's just like got the photo with him, and I remember I tweeted out. I made a tweet out with the photo and everything, and he actually responded to it, and he told me to meet him after the game. Met him after the game. He gave me a pair of his game-worn socks and shorts, which I still have to this day, which is pretty funny. We're talking about the Toronto, it brings back memories, but it's a really great, it's a great moment, you know. Like when I first met him at my first day of training with the program. I was like, it was just insane. Cause the first thing he said to me, he's like, he also remembered who I was like years later. Cause I remember every year he came to Toronto, I always like try, you know, stick my head out and make sure he like notices me, you know, that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a great moment though. Like for real, like, he's a really humble player, humble guy. He's like everything you can imagine, like off the pitch. He's like, he has everything, you know, like he's a really good person. So that's like what that's what I really like about him. It's like, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind, it's like, it doesn't have to be about rugby, but it's like his personality, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's the same with other players too that I grew up watching that play with the Rugby Canada program, like John Moo, like for example, too. He's also from Toronto, and like there's like many others too. So like there was like getting the first try from John Moo, and that was pretty surreal as well, you know, like had that Toronto connection and everything. So
there we go.
There's a lot of big time players that I was able to look up to when I first came into the program. Now they're all retired. I'm now able to like help out the next generation of athletes, even though I'm still like part of like that.
Really young, yeah.
The team's starting to pick up now, and it's really nice to see. So yeah,
that's awesome. And you're wearing the Austin Matthews jersey. I'm gonna let you go really soon because I know the game started. Yeah, there you go. Always repping the 6, man. But I wanted to know about like your journey, not even your journey, but getting the opportunity to go to so many places like Lima, like Peru, Romania, where you won a cup there as well too, Cape Town, all these different places. Like, is it really surreal when you land down there, or is like when you go to these tournaments, is just your mentality is just, hey, you just gotta win it, you gotta win. Like what exactly is that? Just traveling around the world, man.
Like honestly, the only time I fly is when it comes to like rugby tournaments, you know. The first time I took the plane was when I was in grade 10, and we went to just New York City. It was like an hour flight from Toronto, but like that was still like a big moment for me, you know. And I remember flying to Cape Town. I got a late call up, so I remember I was flying down to Cape Town on my own. That was a long flight, you know. I think it was like close to like 30-hour like trip. So I mean, like that was a pretty wild moment for me. But I mean, like every time I land in countries, it's nice to experience like the lifestyles of like these different places in the world. And then like when it comes to like playing in these countries, like when you go to the venues and you see the amount of like fans that come out, it's like it's you know, playing. Like when I went to Cape Town, like I believe the stadium that hosted the tournament was where they held like the FIFA World Cup. So it was like over like 40,000 people in the stand. More. I mean, sick, you know, like it's to play in front of like all those people. Again, of course, it's like when I was younger, of course, it was like really nerve wracking, but now I'm starting to like pick up and get used to it. So I'm just happy that the confidence is starting to get there.
Absolutely. I have so many questions to ask you, but one thing, would you say that Cape Town was the craziest place, like most wild atmosphere you've ever played in, or is there other places that rival to that?
Oh, there's other ones like Vancouver, of course. That's like the big
Right.
one for the boys. They like playing back in their hometown or
Of
the
course.
home country. And
Yeah.
then also Hong Kong, they usually bring up a pretty good crowd as well, which is really,
Okay.
yeah. So
That's
there's and Dubai too. There's many great venues around like the World Series. So
that's
it's
awesome,
really
man.
great for us to be able to play in those tournaments. So it's really
Yeah.
nice for younger guys too who are starting to get used to like the environment now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool that you're like actually, you know, extremely young player, but still kind of like the rookie and the vet to these guys that are coming up, because you got a chance to learn from the Hirayamas, get to learn from the Moonlights, so on and so forth, and even play Toronto Arrows. So even guys like Mike Shep, who was a captain there, you get to learn from guys that are a lot older as well too. So that's incredibly awesome, man. But I wanted to ask you, you know, in your recovery right now and what you're going through, and you said something that kind of stuck out to me. You're like, hey, surround yourself with people that you know, make you stronger throughout the moment, or surround yourself with the good people. Has that something you've carried throughout your entire life, or is something you kind of learned throughout the years to make sure that you had?
Oh,
Like, how
that
is that?
was pretty deep, man.
Yeah. Good.
No, honestly, yeah, like that's something I really carried on throughout my whole life. You know, like I just feel like there are times when you want to be alone, but there's also times when you need people to be there to pick you up. You know, so like
Absolutely.
throughout this process, you know, it was tough for me to go through this injury because when I first found out about it, it was like my first like big injury. I never had surgery before, and we also like big tournaments coming up because, you know, COVID being lifted, like the hype was just building up for each tournament, you know.
Right.
So it was just like I felt like I was playing my best rugby to that point, and I felt like everything just went downhill, you know. So
Right.
when it first happened, if I found out like the recovery time and everything, I just felt like, damn, like this is big for me, you know. It's just like being able to miss a couple tournaments. It's gonna be out for a few months, and just like, cause I love, the one thing people know about me is like I love running, I just love doing active stuff, you know. So like not being able to do that for like a month, it was kind of tough, but yeah. So I remember I was when I found out the news, my team physio, he was like, hey, yeah, like you have an option if you want, you can go to Toronto or do your surgery done in BC. So at first I was kind of like I was like in my head, everything was just going, I was just like all over the place. I was like, honestly, like, wherever gets me the fastest like surgery time, I don't even care. But then they just ended up sending me to Toronto, and thankfully when I went to Toronto, they got me a surgery. They got my surgery done in the week after I met with the surgeon. So I'm thankful for that. And he's like one of the top surgeons in Toronto, so I'm really thankful that I was able to get work done with him. And yeah, you know, it was like it was pretty tough at first, but like thankfully my family was able to help me out, because like, you know, being with them the whole, like that was like the longest stretch I've been home, like since I moved out to BC. I was home for like about 2 months and a half. So my brothers and my sister and were helping me a lot while my mom and my dad were at work, and then you know, it was just like getting their support was like meant a lot.
Right.
I know it's kind of annoying at times because, you know, the kids are really young. All you want to do is play video games and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it was nice going back home to see my friends, seeing some like, also I was able to see some of my high school teachers, my high school rugby coaches too, which is a nice, and like being able to bump into people like I haven't met, but like they know who I am. It's like a really humbling moment, knowing that like people back in Toronto actually like know like what I do for a living, you know. Like,
absolutely.
Like one thing I want to know, like I want to be known for is like trying to grow the game in Toronto, you know what I mean? Trying to grow, because like when I first started playing rugby, like rugby wasn't like known at, like wasn't as known as it is now, you know. So
of course,
I'm pretty happy like that it's starting to grow. We have the professional rugby team in Toronto, which is able to help grow the game in the city. And yeah, so I try to do as much as I can do. So yeah.
That's a great answer. And you answered, you even got into some questions I was going to ask you just now as well too, because the fact that when you won the UL Mark of Excellence in Toronto as well too, you said, yeah, man, I'm just trying to put on for the six, put rugby on the map, and that's exactly what you're doing, man. And I was even going to ask about you know, how family has impacted you, especially when you're on the road and whatnot. Like, it shouldn't have been a question where you would get the surgery, because you were probably grounded in Toronto, you know, with your family, and that's the best. That's where you get the most support. And you know, of course, myself going through this Achilles injury, man, it's tough because I love running, I love playing sports as well too, and it's killer right now. But once again, what you said, surround yourself with good people and just stay the course, and just in a sense stop feeling sorry for yourself too, right? So yeah, that's great, man. Last thing I wanted to kind of ask you is when you come on, just in general to kind of wrap this up, because I know you want to get out of here really soon. But
Yeah.
just with the game of rugby, and just being in BC as well too. Like, what are your goals, like, from coming back from recovery? But what are your goals that you want to set out this year? I know you're a 2019 Canadian Player of the Year. Are you trying to get more accolades? Like, what is your personal goals?
My personal goals for this year is come back stronger and better than ever, which is my first thing. And then, like, also there's we have a tournament late July in England. I forgot what city, but it's called the Commonwealth Games. It's taking place down there. So that tournament usually takes about every 4 years. So that's a tournament I've been waiting for, and so I'm hoping to come back for that. And then also we have another tournament after that in LA. I really want to go check out LA, but like,
that's awesome, man.
That's
LA's unreal.
Yeah. I just want to keep traveling around, and like just playing rugby again. And then we also and the boys really played their hearts out the last few weeks, and we were able to qualify for the Sevens World Cup in Cape Town in September, which is really exciting. So
yeah,
I know the boys are really fired up for that, and that's why I'm really enjoying seeing how competitive the team is now. Because like that's what we really need at this moment. So it's a really young team, but there's a lot of boys who are always up there to put their hand up to make the squad. So I can't wait to come back into that training environment and know that I need to work my butt off to be back on that squad. So boys have been really supportive throughout like my whole process back in Toronto. So like they've been really happy to see me back in the training environment and training with them. So
there we go, man.
So yeah,
there we go, man. I know you're gonna achieve all of your goals. Of course, you've done it all throughout this time, and I know I wish you a speedy recovery. I know it's going to happen as well too, man. But I cannot wait to watch you back with the Canadian Men's Rugby Sevens and just do your great things that you do in the pitch, man. But hey, Josiah, thank you so much, man. Where can they find you right now on Instagram and Twitter? What's the handle?
At Josiah Morra on Instagram, and I made this back in hot my Twitter, but King Josiah. That's my Twitter handle.
Yeah, no, it's still King, man. You gotta be flex. Hey, man, thank you so much. Wishing you the best, man. This is the First and 10 podcast. I'm right now with Josiah Morra. Make sure you support him and follow him. And this is the First and 10 podcast. Keep on.
Thank you.